Hey everybody, it's me. It's your good buddy Thorne. Hey, there's a couple things I want to talk to you today. General Fells requested that we do some topic videos, and this is going to be one of, I think, two by the time we get this done. So what I want to talk about real quick, this is going to be it's going to be kind of dry, but we'll try to make it kind of exciting, okay? It's going to be about body temperature and hydration and overheating. And then the second one is going to be about armor bites, and I think that's going to be, I think we'll do a second video on that. That's a big enough a big enough topic that we're going to need a whole 15 minutes for that one. Okay, so are you ready? Let's go. Hey, we're back. Hydration. It's good stuff. All right. So our first topic is going to be about overheating on the battlefield, okay? Now, in what we're doing, this is going to be some scientific stuff that your old buddy Thorne's going to be spinning at you, but it's pretty important. All of it you don't need to know. It's good information. So we'll kind of wrap this up towards the end, okay? Now, when we're talking about overheating on the battlefield, and I know a lot of you guys have been out there doing this for a long time, and you know what I'm talking about. And maybe some of you haven't, okay? But you understand the concept, because when you put a lot of stuff on, you get hotter. It keeps that heat inside your body. You don't sweat as much. Sweat is what cools the body off, okay? Now, your normal body temperature is medically stated between about 36.5 and 37.5 degrees centigrade, and that's about 97.7 to 99.5. And everybody's a little different. Me personally, I run a little colder than, let's say, other people. I run around 97.7, 97.8. That's about what I do. And everything that we do in our life changes that norm. And trust me, fighting on a battlefield causes some serious changes. And some of these changes can be life-threatening if you don't take care of yourself and think logically. Because raising up your core body temperature just a few degrees can send you to the hospital. Now, like I said, 97.7, that's about what I run. Raising it up to 100.4 is classified as hyperthermia. And you feel hot, you're sweating, you're thirsty, you're feeling uncomfortable, maybe hungry. If this is caused by a fever, if you're actually sick, you might actually have chills, and that's your body trying to expel that heat out of your body through sweat. Raising your body temperature up to 102.2 is severe sweating, flushed and red, fast heart rate and breathless. There may be exhaustion accompanied by this. Children and people with epilepsy may even likely to get convulsions at this point. And at 104 is usually you're fainting, you're dehydrated, your weakness, vomiting, headache. This starts to be life-threatening at that time. And at 105.8, you're fainting, you're vomiting, severe headache, dizziness, mental confusion, hallucinations, delirium. This is a medical emergency, and it is very, very serious. But raising that from 97 to 100.4, your core body temperature, that's really heating up. Okay. Now, in a recent study of ballistic armor used by police officers, the maximum temperature increase for all vest wearers was 1.8 degrees centigrade. And I won't get into the test itself, but it was fairly complex test. It's a pretty good study. You can find it online. Now, 1.8 degrees centigrade, that's the maximum that these guys increased. That's enough to raise your body temperature to 100.7 degrees Fahrenheit. So, now, not to make fun of police officers because I am one, But not all police officers are physically fit. And that takes a lot into consideration, too, your physical fitness. And but 1.8 degrees centigrade is a significant shift in vest wearers from their core body temperature to doing physical activity. And heat illness is really a result of a combination of three main elements. The environment, which includes the air temperature, the wind velocity, and the relative humidity. Okay, so if it's, Bicoline is pretty warm. And it is right on the river, and so it's pretty humid, too. And the guys that have been to Bicoline can tell you, but having been in the south of the United States, in the southeast of the United States quite a bit, they call Hotlanta for a reason. 95, 96 degrees with 80, 90% humidity is pretty normal, and it is miserable, even if you're wearing a T-shirt and shorts. Now, think about putting that on, armor on, and then fighting, and it gets miserable. It really does. The second element is metabolic heat, and that's your body heat that you're produced. And then the clothing biophysics properties, and that's kind of what we're talking about. It's thermal insulation, vapor permeability, and the wind effects. Now, going to the body armor that I'm going to wear, probably for the Grand Battalion, which includes a very lightly padded gambeson over that chainmail. Those two things, it is going to keep my core body temperature. Well, it's going to raise that core body temperature up. The gambeson, although it is made of cotton and lightly padded, is thermal insulation. It's going to keep the heat in. It's cotton, and it's got fairly big armholes, so it's going to breathe okay. And the neck hole is big enough that it's going to let me sweat or air come through my neck pretty well. But putting that helmet on my head is going to keep that heat in pretty good too, isn't it? Yeah. And if there's any kind of wind, it's going to be nice. It's going to keep that off. But if you're standing out in the direct sunlight, all that heat and coming in on top of you, that thermal energy, the heat of the sun is going to really warm you up. Stuff you put on, the hotter your body gets. The more work you do, the hotter your body gets. Now, like I said, that first test was about police officers. But really, a better test to take a look at is something that the Marine Corps did back in 1967. And I know it's a couple of years ago. And it considered a hot, humid environment and ballistic vests. And they tested groups of 8 men under these pretty intense conditions. Men walked at a normal pace for 3.5 miles, and that's about a 3.5 to 4 mile an hour marching pace, okay? And they wore up to 57 pounds of equipment, including boots and utilities and boots, uniform and boots, ammunition bandoliers, a helmet, which is very important for our study, really, because heat from the head, rifle, belt, and canteen, your basic combat load, okay? And that weighed about 39 pounds, your basic combat load. When you add the body armor to it, that kicked that overall weight up to about 57.5 pounds. And, I do need to do a test. I don't know. I think I'll do that with the Armor Bite series, is I'll weigh myself and see exactly how much my armor weighs. That would be very interesting. Anyway, so 57 pounds of gear. Now, I know the time that I spent in the military, I was in the infantry, and I spent a significant portion of my younger life in the Ranger battalions. And 60 pounds of gear, 70 pounds of gear, 80 pounds of gear was fairly normal. But I was a hell of a lot younger, and I was in much better shape than I was now. But so 60 pounds of equipment is not that far-fetched. Okay, and we'll weigh our gear, we'll weigh our armor and see exactly what it weighs. I think it's going to be interesting. Okay. These tests were conducted in various wet bulb conditions, and that's what the military, well, that's what most people use to measure the humidity. And the overall conclusion was very similar to the first test that we talked about with the police officers. The higher the humidity, the hotter the body got, and the more fluids were lost. Okay, and if you wore armor, you lost more. I mean, that makes pretty much sense. In fact, the test with 96% humidity, wearing 57 pounds of equipment, the highly athletic and trained Marines were only able to last about 40 minutes in the test, walking, carrying that weight. And that's no rest, no breaks, no nothing. They just kept walking. And they stopped him once their core body temperature went up enough to be dangerous. That's at 100.4 degrees. At 95.9% humidity and 95 degrees, you can only work without body armor about 32 minutes before that body temperature raised. And with armor, about 28.4 minutes, less than 30 minutes, okay? That's not very long, and most of our battles go longer than that, but we're not fighting continuously. We do take some breaks. But keep that in mind. If it's very, very hot, about 30 minutes is about all you're going to be able to do, okay? And that's a well-trained and highly athletic Marine. Some old fat guy like me, it's not going to last that long without taking some measures. And I really need to get better in shape. I do. And that's what this whole Fit for Pico thing is about, is getting you in better shape to do this fighting. On average, a person sweats between 0.8 and 1.4 liters an hour during exercise. Okay. To kind of give you a visual for that, smaller water bottles typically hold about 20 ounces, or, Mr. Skull. This is about 20 ounces of coffee, which is a diuretic, so don't drink it. And a larger bottle holds about 24 ounces. And where did my bottle go? I'm going to have to show you. If you watch the one video, I had a nice little water bottle I'm going to take out in the field, and that is 24 ounces of fluid that I'm going to carry with me. And then, with the logistics guys coming and resupplying me, that's going to be pretty good. Now, your ability to perform athletically can decline with very small amount of dehydration. Losing just 2% of your body weight in fluids will decrease your performance with up to 25%. Now, me weighing 220 pounds, that's only 4.4 pounds of fluid loss. And that's less than 2 hours of exercise with no fluid replacement. And that's in a low humidity environment. In a high humidity environment, I'm going to sweat a lot more than that. I'm going to become dehydrated less than 35 minutes in a 95.9% humidity environment. Okay, so how much water should you drink before, during, and after a battle? Well, first, make sure that you're properly hydrated to begin with. Drink fluids throughout the day before you go into battle. And do this at least 3 days prior to showing up or arriving at Bicoline. And then follow this formula, right? And 1 to 2 hours before the battle, drink 15 to 20 ounces of water. And 15 minutes before you go in, drink 8 to 10 ounces of water. And that's right before we go in or march onto the field, drink a large glass of water. And then during the battle, drink another 8 ounces every 15 minutes. Like I said, I've got my 24-ounce bottle. I should be drinking out of that at any break or halt. I should drink that 24 ounces within about an hour. Maybe more, depending on how humid it is. And you might drink more water if you're sweating heavily which we will be, or if you're exercising outdoors in very hot weather, which we will be. If you weigh 150 pounds, you should drink about 75 to 150 ounces of water per day. Think about 1 ounce for every pound that you weigh. Now, I weigh 220 pounds right now, and I'm down from where I was earlier, which is good. So I really need to drink about 220 ounces of water a day to stay hydrated, and that's about a gallon. Well, that's more than a gallon. That's about 1.71 gallons of water a day, kids. That's a hell of a lot of water, and I don't drink that much. I need to increase that too. Hey, now we all know that Bicoline's a big party, and a lot of times you're out, at night, consuming alcohol, which I do. But that's a diuretic, and it does dehydrate you as well. So in the morning, that headache you feel is basically due because you're not hydrated enough. So drink more water, kids. Drink water. When you don't feel like drinking water, drink water. We need to watch ourselves and drink water. Your sergeants and lieutenants, you need to be telling people to drink water all the time. Any break in combat, you need to drink water. And, it's something that's very, very important. We don't want to go down with a heat injury. But, reenacting, and I do a lot of different reenacting. Reenacting in various time periods, and I want to talk about American Civil War reenacting because you're wearing all this wool. And it gets very hot, and if you've ever seen reenactors, Civil War reenactors, most of us are a little heavy, and most of us a little older, and an event doesn't go by that somebody doesn't drop out with heat exhaustion, which is the lesser of the heat injuries, because they just didn't drink enough. They're just not physically fit enough. They get overheated. The core body temperature rises to 100.4, 100.7, and then they're down, and they're done. And it could have been avoided. So, drink water. Think about what you're going to wear onto the battlefield. And you really need to train in your armor, or at least a significant weight of your armor. Now, one of the things that I've started doing is I started doing my walk with my old body armor on, my old Iraq and Afghanistan body armor on, which is a little heavier, but I really need to weigh all my armor that I have and then start carrying that weight. So, anyway, that's it for now. So the next little piece that we're going to talk about in the next little video is going to be armor bite, and that should be fun. Okay, you guys take care. We'll see you later.